There's no equivalent to the MGTOW movement among women. I actually saw one guy looking at this dating, like a TikTok dating video where this woman's like, we're improving on ourselves. Why aren't the men improving on themselves? And it's like, oh, okay, so you're basically dating losers. You're dating weirdos, losers, guys who look good, but you don't really have the ability to grasp like what a person's character is and what yeah. So that's because there's no equivalent to the MGTOW movement on the women's side. It does need to be said that to make sure, for history's sake, the import of this is that with men not marrying, this changes the civilized economics. This idea that you can have multi-generations of men who in some way can either gather wealth or inherit some wealth that was earned, not just some nobles or some goofy kookball idea that people who don't like capitalism, which are typically liberals, and the liberal vote's typically women, and which is really a euphemism for kind of people who are generally lazier, and women are generally lazier. And it's one of these things of unfortunately, adiposity rates show that I am correct about this. So, and then also that if you give women the chance to leave the workforce, they will, like every time. It was anything that they're like, boy, now I don't have to work. They will do it. They will do that for years. They will do everything they can. That's why the lockdowns are such a big deal, all for especially liberals, hence the women vote, because of just raw laziness and not wanting to work. So, and it's a good thing. This is evolutionarily, this is a good thing, because then it makes women do what needs to be done to make men do the labor. Then women breed men for labor. They choose men who can accomplish the labor goals. And so then you get a working class. When women start picking bastards and maniacs and psychopaths and just start fucking anything that any of the other women want, then you start getting the actual rape culture of, say, Islam, where you get basically a society that's not civilized, descended from raiders and clannish gang membership and people who are like camel rustlers and stuff like that, and slavers. Remember, Islam is a enslaving religion. It believes in enslaving people. It absolutely is fundamental, because Muhammad did it. It therefore is good. So enslaving blacks is good because Muhammad did it. That's why Islam is famous for being the worst of the slavers almost in human history. So the future economic results of this are going to be catastrophic. Civilized economics is rare. Most of the time we're not civilized. Humans are really good at devolving into savagery. And what happens, who knows exactly how it happens? All we know is we have some written records of times where it did, where you have fundamentally a truly the ruling class, and you have a member of the ruling class talking to other members of the ruling class. Why are you not having children? Why are you not doing the things to keep our civilization going? This is famous in Rome, that the MGTOW movement really focuses on, like, that quote that came up from it. And I think it's Aurelius. I think it's Marcus Aurelius talking to his generals and going through them one by one and dressing them down for not having children. And now we have these foppish men who never married. They, sexual harem culture that's entirely developed by women. not developed by men. It's entirely a female thing. And that's the big one with women and players and fuckboys. This term that this really awful term that millennial chicks came up with. I think really because millennial chicks, so many of them are not charming, not interesting, and so therefore gameless. They just thought if they brought their vagina and their tits to the table, they're suddenly at the table. But what the thing that comes down to is this, is that the economics of it are going to be devastating. When you no longer have a bunch of men who are willing to work our dicks off to make women happy. And in fact, as a lot of MGTOW men know, there's kind of a holy rule. Is don't make women happy. Let women know what it's like. Let women know what it's like to be in an unsatisfying world on the edge of savagery. Let them know what it's like. Let them know what it's like to be a dude. Except that they'll always have to complain to the manager. They'll always have to go Karen mode because nobody cares. Nobody cares. They'll always have to go to the manager, and eventually even the managers won't care. Even the management class will be like, "Oh, sorry, ma'am." Be like, "Whatever. What a bitch." And it's going to keep going like this. I don't care if anybody thinks, what anybody thinks. I know people too well. I've served too much food to too many people. I understand this now. And this is also why the culture change is happening, because thank you, homosexuals and trannies. You have thoroughly insulted white women. You have thoroughly insulted them. You have said that you as a dude are the same thing as her as long as you dress up like her. And then can't even pull it off. Can't even pull the act off. Holy shit. So, I've got to thank you all for that. Because you're making women unhappy. Real women with vaginas from when they grew up as girls and became women. You're making them even more miserable. Thanks, trannies.